I'm Kevin O'Hara for Alcohol Mastery. This is Stop Drinking Alcohol 67. A bit later I want to talk about how or why I still think about drinking. First of all, we'll have a look at what's happening on the site this week. A few people were telling me that they were finding it hard to navigate around the site, so I thought I'd try and just do a bit of restructuring. Trying to put things in places where are easier to find. So I started out with frequently asked questions part of the site. So I've put that up at the top in place of the old home button. So it's on the top of the, just underneath the header. It's FAQ, and there is nearly 70 questions there. If you have any questions that you want add into it or you'd like me to cover, then give us a shout. Send me an email, or you can send it at the bottom of the list of frequently asked questions. There's a little contact box. One of the posts on the site this week was accepting, and that was really about just accepting some of the things that are inevitable. That there might be a little bit of damage already done. There might be some damage that you can't cure, that you can't do anything about. You just got to live with it, there's a lot of great things about quitting alcohol, and if the longer you've been drinking, the more sort of crap you're gonna have to accept along the way. So it's better than carrying on drinking and having to accept a lot more shit in the long term. I also did a couple of posts on. One was on the social reasons for quitting drinking. Talk a little bit about going out and dealing with different people, and just about alcohol being a fairly selfish habit, and relationship reasons for quitting drinking. So I'll stick the links down below for those. So just click on the links and you can view the video if you haven't already done it. So when I say I still think about drinking, you might be saying, what's he on about? He hasn't drank in 18 months and he's still thinking about drinking. Seriously? And it's not as bad as it sounds. It basically means that every so often I get a flash, like a little itch that doesn't take much scratching to get rid of it. It's like a little passing thought that comes into my mind and is gone within a split second. It doesn't stay there long. Does that mean I'm an alcoholic? No. It's just one of those things. It happens. I think people who have never had a drink in their lives sometimes think about drinking. It just crosses their mind. What would it be like to have a drink? And it's basically the same as that. Of course, there's plenty of people that will say, oh, well, if you're off the drink now for 18 months and you're still thinking about it, then you're obviously not over it and you're obviously an alcoholic. And it just goes to prove that the whole theory of alcoholism being a disease is true. And that's bollocks. It truly is. It's compared to the amount of times I used to think about drinking when I was drinking, which was virtually every waking hour, whether I was drinking or not. This is like it's nothing. And it normally happens when I'd be sat down next to somebody and they'll be drinking a glass of wine or having a beer and I'm really hot, or if I'm stressed, sometimes it crosses my mind. But like I say, it's purely for a second. It's as quick as a thought comes into my mind, it goes back out again. And does it matter? No, does it fuck? I mean, what matters is if you do something about it, if you get this thought and all of a sudden you go, oh, geez, I'd love a glass of beer now. Sure, one wouldn't do me any harm. and you just dwell on the thought and you keep thinking about it, and you think about it and think about it until it starts becoming a desire. And once it's a desire inside your brain, then you might not drink that time, but you know, if you keep doing it, if you keep thinking on it, you know, sometimes when I think about it, like I say, gone within a split second. Other times I think that's the way I used to think, you know, that's Jesus, you know, I never thought that way before. I would have a drink, and I use it as an opportunity to see how far I've come, and to pat myself on the, give myself a virtual pat on the shoulder, and you know, really to look at the people who are drinking around me, look at how they're drinking, look at how they're behaving around the drink. And you know, if you're out with people for a few hours, you can see the addiction, not the addiction, but the dependence. You know, people don't think that they're dependent on alcohol, but if you go out and every time you have a meal out, you have to have a drink, then it's a form of dependence. You know, it's a form of chemical dependence. It's a form of drug dependence. And you know, when you think about it, when I think about alcohol in those terms, and it comes up in my mind, then you know, you use it as an opportunity like that to sort of reaffirm where you're coming from, to sort of reroute your fundamental ideas about why you've stopped, and like I say, how far you've come. One of the reasons why these thoughts keep happening is because of the brainwashing. You know, we've been indoctrinated into the alcoholic society since the day that we were born. You know, it's everywhere, it's all around us. You know, every facet of life seems to have alcohol attached to it in some form or another. That's the way it appears anyway. You know, from the time that you're born, people celebrate your birth with alcohol, they celebrate your birthdays with alcohol, your weddings, the priest drinks alcohol. It's just drank everywhere, and it's used everywhere. So the indoctrination runs fairly deep. So that's where the thought comes. And you know, you have to spend a bit of effort, especially at the beginning, being your own dedoctrination. Is that a word? Dedoctrination? Your own dedoctrination agent. Spend a bit of time getting the bullshit out of your brain, you know, and setting yourself back on the right road again, that alcohol is not in any shape or form a normal thing for human beings to do. So is it bad to think about drinking? No, I can't help it. You know, I think about all sorts of stuff. I think about all sorts of stuff that I'm not even aware that I'm thinking about. I'm only aware that I think about drinking because I don't drink anymore, and because I've stopped. And you become aware of it because you see it sort of, it's another part of the bullshit, the brainwashing, that you see yourself as, you still got this thing about you might be an alcoholic, and you know, you might really be have a big problem with alcohol after all. So what am I still thinking about it for? So that's, you know, when you think about it like that, but it's definitely not bad. You know, it's you can't help it. Nobody can help it. So will I ever stop thinking about drinking? I don't know. I don't think so. Does it matter? You know, like I say, it's all about what you do. If you get upset with yourself because you're thinking about drinking, you know, you're going to have a hard life. You know, it's just you let it flow over your head. just forget about it, you know, let it go. So there's another alcohol thought. Carry on with your life. At the end of the day, you still have to consider yourself very lucky to have escaped from alcohol. I do. I think, you know, worst case scenario, I could still be drinking. You know, I could have never copped onto myself, and I'd be doing more thinking about drinking. So having that little, you know, giving myself that bit of leeway to sort of think, well, yeah, that's nothing. Thinking about a drink every so often is nothing. The whole thing is you can't not think about it, something, you know, anything. If you try not to think about something, then it's called the ironic process theory. It's like a dual process. You have two processes going on in your mind. One process is where your brain is thinking about what you're not supposed to be thinking about in order not to think about it. And it has to keep bringing up this thought in your mind in order to know what it's not supposed to be thinking about. So I guess the advice is just don't worry about it. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it, so just go with the flow. I mean, I'm not going to throw everything that I've achieved in the last 18 months down the toilet just for the sake of a stupid thought. A little itch, it's not a monkey on my back. It's not a craving. It's not me really being an alcoholic. It's just nothing, it's just a thought. Until next time, I'm Kevin O'Hara for Alcohol Mastery. Onwards and upwards.